"Show me the money," screeches Kelsey Fitzsimmons' baby daddy, Justin Aylaian, is begging the court to help a homie out by cashing in on his ex's house like they're Chuck E. Cheese tokens. This and more in today's video.
Show me the money.
Hello, and welcome back, roommates, to another titillating edition of Alexasrewm, where we are not lawyers, we are not medical professionals, and we are not law enforcement. We are just people. People who have opinions. Opinions about all things going on in the true crime community, including Kelsey Fitzsimmons inseminator Justin Aylaian, asking the court to slap a lien on her house so he can secure funds for future child support. So in other words, he's trying to repo her house because she can't afford to pay him child support because she's in jail and can't work. Oh, and she's also disabled from being shot in the chest. On or about August 22nd, 2025, mother and or her family, why does this give me Norman Bates vibes, listed the property for sale at a price of $599,999, as reflected on redfin.com. This property constitutes the only known asset of mother with substantial value. Given mother's limited assets and minimal earning potential, it is highly unlikely that she will be able to satisfy her child support obligations through income alone. It's alimony season, minus the marriage aspect of it. Real Housewives Essex County edition. Except instead of throwing wine or flipping tables, it seems like her ex is trying to strip her of literally everything so she can't pay for a defense or her medical bills. Now, if you ask some people, the timing of all of this is sketchier than a Craigslist massage listing. I mean, the invisible ink on my last video wasn't even dry before Disney villain Kathleen McCarthy, Newman Neiman Marcus decided to drop her ruling on Timothy J. Bradl's motion for reconsideration on revoking Kelsey's bail. And spoiler alert, she basically said, "I hope them honey buns pair well with your payment." And her reason for her decision is just, you know, your classic legal precedent of,
My dear, I don't give a damn.
Now, I'm not going to read this whole 8-page Ambien-ridden diatribe to you. Melanie Little and Brother Counsel already did a full breakdown. Both of those links are in my description box below, so you can choose your own adventure. However, I will give you the kindergarten level recap. Fitzsimmons' pending motion asks the court to reconsider its revocation of her release and instead impose available alternative alcohol testing by random urine tests as set forth in the attached email provided by probation. That attached email was purportedly sent by Assistant Chief Probation Officer Jeff January at 6:21 p.m. on September 10th, 2025, the day before the hearing on Fitzsimmons' emergency motion for immediate relief from the SCRAM order. The email notes that the only alternative to SCRAM testing is urine testing through a vendor called AverHealth, which would require Fitzsimmons to travel to one of the AverHealth sites to submit to a test. The email concludes by offering to provide more specific information on AverHealth tomorrow morning. At the hearing on September 11th, the court gave the parties ample opportunity to present their arguments. Mr. January was present and testified under oath, which we have listened to in my previous videos. I will link the playlist in this video somewhere so you can go check it out and take a listen. But pretty much what she's saying is this guy who has no stake in the game whatsoever, this probation officer who witnessed Kelsey pretty much wheezing through this test just so she can complete it, might as well have been Bigfoot, because we don't even know if he wrote this email. I don't know who the author of this email would be. Well, who else would it be, Jan? Bradl? Why would Bradl forge an email from a probation officer? That makes absolutely no sense. So she's also questioning the validity of the origin of the email, which she also, if you recall, from the hearing, already poo-pooed as evidence before the man testified under oath. For some reason, rather than bringing the alternative testing option to the court's attention, but they did, Officer January wrote it in the email. You just said that also before you cut him off. Silver Fox Timothy J. Bradl was also suggesting urine tests, but I digress. To the court's attention and inquiring about it with Mr. January during his testimony, which you also could have asked him about before the court, defense counsel at the time sought only an order completely relieving Fitzsimmons of the condition of her release, requiring her to submit to SCRAM monitoring, which is not true at all. If you listen to the hearing, that is bullocks. In fact, Timothy J. Bradl comes out swinging out the gate, trying to get ahead of this by saying, that's not what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to find an alternative path to make this happen. Yes, Kelsey can still comply with the SCRAM monitoring. She can complete the tests. It just takes a little going, a little pep in her step with her lungs because, again, she was shot in the chest and has bullet fragments lodged in her body, and she has broken ribs. And I'm assuming sleeping on a concrete slab or a metal bed or whatever they have in jails these days probably isn't helping the healing process, which would make this difficult for her. It was only after the hearing, when the requested relief was denied, that defense counsel brought to the court's attention via the pending motion that Fitzsimmons could be tested for alcohol via a urine test, again, which is not true because you just said that a page ago, girlfriend. Rather than live testimony under oath from Mr. January on September 11th, defense counsel now asks the court to rely on an unverified email that provides little detail about AverHealth and the testing it offers. And again, you could have asked him about this. What was the whole point of having him testify if he's just giving a soliloquy? If you have these questions, why didn't you ask? You're the one who ordered this. Hello, McFly. The court also notes that Fitzsimmons has had other opportunities to raise the issue of her inability to comply with SCRAM testing and suggest alternatives. So she's pretty much like, oh, well, you were too late. You had all this time to tell us that you couldn't comply with SCRAM, but she can comply with SCRAM. Nobody said that she didn't. Nobody said she was like, nah, not today, Felicia. I ain't doing that. She did. It just took a little doing. The court first advised Fitzsimmons that her release was conditioned on being alcohol-free and subject to SCRAM testing at the initial Section 58A hearing on August 28th, so a few weeks ago. At that hearing, counsel asked questions and sought clarification about other conditions, but not about the SCRAM testing condition. In addition, on September 8th, 2025, Fitzsimmons submitted to the court a medical notice, paper number 20, which the court impounded upon her request, so that's sealed. Without revealing sensitive information, that pleading represents that Fitzsimmons had trouble breathing due to injuries sustained from a firearm shot wound. Despite this, Fitzsimmons raised no concern at the September 8th hearing, so 3 days before this hearing, where she revoked her bail, about her injuries interfering with her ability to comply with SCRAM testing. So from the time this woman was released to the emergency hearing 3 days later, when her bail was revoked and she had for the first time started doing these SCRAM tests, figured out, hey, this isn't really feeling that good. I don't think I can do this comfortably. And it's stressing me out, it's giving me anxiety, and I don't want to fudge anything up because I don't want to get thrown back in the slammer, and that's inevitably what happened. But my question is, how do you know if you can or cannot do something until you duck and do it? Do you think this woman is just going around doing scram tests randomly. So I hope that helps. But again, if you want more of a legal and articulate way of breaking that down, you can click one of the links in my description box below. Which brings us to where we're at today. Now again, full disclaimer, I am still very green to this case. There's probably a lot more information that y'all know about than I do, so I am still very much learning. So I'm just giving my commentary based on what we have in front of us and what I'm reading. So just wanted to say that despite Mother's pending criminal charges, her duty and obligation to provide financial support, show me the money, for the minor child remains. At present, Mother cannot work in any capacity because she's in prison. She makes what, like 3 cents a sweep, a dusting, a laundry fold? Further upon information and belief, Mother does not have substantial assets but for the Phillips Brooks Road property. So basically, repo all her fancy throw pillows just so she can cover child support in the future. Bold strategy, Cotton. Yeah, I wonder who's really going to be benefiting from this at this point. Yes, I know diapers, formula, extremely expensive. I wonder if the kid even getting breastfed? That's a whole other aspect of it. But Mother acquired title to the Phillips Brooks Road property by quitclaim deed on or about June 27th, 2023, as recorded with the Essex County North Registry of Deeds at book yada yada yada. Shortly thereafter, she obtained a mortgage from Cambridge Trust Company in the amount of $388,000. The Phillips Brooks Road property is a 1,287 square foot single family residence consisting of 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. So if anybody's looking for a house to move into, well, there you go. On or about August 22nd, 2025, Mother and or her family listed the property for sale at a price of $600,000, essentially, as reflected on redfin.com. This property constitutes the only known asset of your mother with substantial value. So I guess her Ford F-150 ain't cutting it. Have you tried pawning the engagement ring? I guess that's not of substantial value, but given Mother's limited assets and minimal earning potential because she's incarcerated, it is highly unlikely that she will be able to satisfy her child support obligations through income alone. This motion's typed out like it's Amazon Prime. I want it in 24 hours or less. Based on the $600,000 initial listing price and the $388,000 original mortgage, Mother's equity in the Phillips Brooks Road property is estimated to be at least $211,999. Footnote: upon information and belief, the listing price of the property recently decreased to $579,000. By contrast, her projected child support obligation, even at the lowest possible attribution of income, full-time employment at minimum wage $15 an hour, would amount to roughly $31,200 annually for the party's 5-month-old child. Over the next 17 years, this obligation at minimum is expected to total approximately $530,400. So, wow, you're going to be cleaning up, certainly, aren't you, sir? You're pulling a full-on K-Fed there, aren't you? Because Mother's equity in the property falls far short of covering this long-term obligation, it is essential that the father secure an attachment on the full equity. I need my money. I need it now. $211,999 in order to protect the child's right to financial support. I mean, I know daycare is expensive, but you need it all right now? Right this very second? Certainly you have a decently paying job, don't you? Working in the fire department? Accordingly, Father respectfully requests that this court authorize an attachment in the amount of $211,999, or the total net proceeds from the sale against the Phillips Brooks Road property. I guess she's worth more to him in jail than she is out of jail. because he could just play Monopoly with her real estate. Without securing the proceeds of this real estate, there is a significant risk that mother will be unable to contribute in any meaningful way to the support of the party's child. Attachment of the Phillips Brooks Road property is therefore essential to preserve the only realistic source of funds available to ensure that the child's right to adequate financial support is protected, or to just line your pockets with some money. Again, when it comes about money, I get a little iffy with people, but I mean, he's moving faster than Ticketmaster bots on the Taylor Swift day. To avoid such an inequitable result, and to secure the child's right to ongoing support, the court must authorize attachment of the Phillips Brooks Road property in an amount sufficient to cover mother's anticipated future support obligations. And make sure, so while you're cashing in, like the flippin' Powerball, she's sitting in jail broke because she can't afford adequate counseling. You can maintain control over the custody of the kid. That's what I'm gathering from all of this. Now, all of this gets, like I said, this stuff is nasty, and I don't know anything about Justin. I am still very new, very green to this case, so I do want to reiterate before passing too much judgment, but this feels kind of icky, kind of slimy, especially with the most recent ruling. There's no reason why. I think most of us can agree. There's no reason why Kelsey should be sitting in jail right now. Her rights as a defendant who deserves the same due process as any other criminal defendant and is not being treated fairly, in my opinion, is the child, is their 5-month-old child. And thankfully, their kid isn't old enough to really know what's going on, because that always makes things 30 times harder. But still, it's just sad. If you could just be two adults having a conversation and maybe acknowledging, hey, maybe we shouldn't get married. Maybe we can just co-parent, take some classes, go to therapy. Now, I don't know. Did he live in this house with her? Also, just want to give a very quick shout out to Law Girls Is Not Attorneys on the Twitter X's for sharing this motion with all of us today. Make sure you give them a follow. That said, if you enjoyed today's content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video from me. And make sure you hit that like button, because that tells the YouTube algorithm that this is newsworthy news. And this is, I mean, again, what they're doing to Kelsey Fitzsimmons right now is disgusting. And I hope that with Bradl is going to be filing an appeal with the SJC, so hopefully something positive comes out from that. And of course, I will keep you all updated here when more news and updates develop. She does have a hearing again on October 7th, so make sure you stay tuned for then. It's my mom's birthday, so happy birthday, Glow Stick. And in the meantime, thank you so much, all of you, for watching, as always, and until next time.
Now, just a quick response to that. Just once again, disinformation through you, Mr. Chair. Those gentlemen were directly in front of my store harassing me. I have it on videotape. They walked away when the policeman. I'm not going to sit here and listen to slanders and lies.
We all saw
much
the
longer.
videotape.